Blessed be he, master and creator of all eternity, who was and is to come. I give you praise, Most High. It is all about you, my creating King. Hallelujah to the King eternal, who made all things, who created and made all things and said it was good. Father, we ask you for favor with you. We ask you, bless the righteous. You said you would bless the righteous with favor. Make us righteous. Give us favor with you and in your sight, for your name's sake and for your glory. For the things that you have made and initiated and intended for us. May it be your kingdom come in us as it is where you abide, O Most High. I give you praise. Hallelujah. This is EMA Barbs Health Corner. Hallelujah. Let everyone know EMA Barbs Health Corner is alive and we are well. Hallelujah to the King of Glory. Regardless of what goes on, what we see, hear, feel, and taste, or touch, knowing that our Yah still has it all under control. He still does, family. He does. He still has it under control, regardless of what we see, regardless of what we feel, regardless. He's got everything under control, and without him, nothing's ever made. Isn't that something awesome to know? That the King of Glory has everything under control. So we're going to tell anxiety has no place in us. Stress has no place in us because we have the mind of the Most High. Hallelujah. We put on the helmet of salvation and the mind of Yeshua. And how do we get the mind of Yeshua? Through the power of his word. And we renounce and forbid the spirit of confusion, confoundment, disobedience, and rebellion. It cannot have place in us because our bodies are what? Say it with me. Our bodies are the temples of the Most High because the Holy Spirit that dwells on the inside. Have you asked the Holy Spirit to come inside and live and dwell on the inside of you? I hope you have. I hope you allowed. I told something to my godson this past week. I said, do you know your 10 commandments? He said, not in order. I said, you don't know your 10 commandments? I said, give me one, just one primary, and I want you to learn that too. You shall love the Lord your God, love the Elohim, my Yah everlasting, my eternal creator, my master forever. I'm just, I'm saying it for me. With all your heart, with all your mind, all your soul, all your strength. That's for me. And that's what will help me do all the rest. Well, today we got a good story. We got something good for you today. Shout out to my babies in Ohio. I always have to tell my babies in Ohio, I love you. This Mima thinks you're wonderful. My babies in Ohio, Mississippi, Texas, and Maryland, and all over this U.S. and the world. EMA Barbs Health Corner is live and well. And remember, we're only telling you the things that do work and those remedies, those everyday remedies that grandmas before me used to do. And these are just home remedies that you can take. The herbs that are the leaves of the field, since the leaves of the field are good for the healing of the nations. Hallelujah. The Creator made all things, and he made those leaves. And he knows how to take good care of that which belongs to him. And we belong to him. Hallelujah. So today, we're going to talk about prebiotics. And the reason why we're going to talk about prebiotics is because those prebiotics, did you know there's a difference between probiotics and prebiotics? Do we love that? Yes, we do. There's a difference between probiotics and prebiotics. And we're going to talk about the ones, let's talk about today about the prebiotics first. The ones that, let's just take it, let's say that you have an excellent gut. Your stomach is good. You have a good colon, clean colon. And did you know there's over trillions of good bacteria and bad bacteria in your body, in your gut, in your intestines? Did you know there's good bacteria and bad bacteria? Now, if you look back in the other classes, we talked about good bacteria and bad bacteria, and which one overtakes and how you want that balance, and how the Father, in its meticulous wonders, made that balance for us to live and move and have our being. Isn't that awesome? So we're going to talk about that. Now, you know what I'm going to say already. You can't go wrong with the leaves of the field. My little ones say this, you can't go wrong with the leaves of the field. Hallelujah. So guess what we're drinking today? You're going to say, EMA, you're drinking your dandelion, a little bit of dandelion, and a lot of burdock. Yes, I am. How did you know? Because I like that. A little bit of cacao, a little bit of coconut milk. Hallelujah. Remember, that cow's milk is, well, we're on another stuff. Remember, that was another time or another episode. So the leaves of the fields are good for the healing of nations. We're going to talk about some things that are good for the intestines, like Swiss chard. Did you know Swiss chard is good for the body? Good for those that colon, that intestine. Helps with the prebiotics in the body. Ooh, I forgot to tell you, for those who are like me, we don't eat a lot of meat. We don't eat any meat at all. But for those that you do, bless you. More for you. And I love you. Sincerely, I do. But for those who don't eat meat like me, did you know garbanzo beans, chickpeas, fava are good? And somebody said, I need protein, Emma, I need protein. Did you know those beans, those particular legumes are specifically protein, along with the other stuff? You know, we talked about that. But I'm just saying, did you know those are proteins, just like animal proteins? That is so packed with protein. And we love that. We love that. And you can make, listen, if you don't want with the chickpeas, if you don't just like it, make some hummus with it. Next time, I'm working on getting you a nice little recipe and for a hummus, which is wonderful. It's wonderful. We eat hummus in our house. As a matter of fact, I had hummus this morning, my 11 o'clock. Now, did you know vinegar, apple cider vinegar is good for the intestines? Hallelujah. It's good for the intestine and for the colon, and helps those probiotics inside the body. Also pepper. You say, Emma, how can cayenne pepper be good for the intestines? Because it's packed with vitamin C. Vitamin C. It's packed in vitamin C, and it goes to the system, and it produces such healthy bacteria in the body. You know it is so good. And did you have your lemon this morning? Tell me you had your lemon water this morning when you first got up, and then you've been drinking water all day. Hallelujah. What about your parsley? Did you know parsley is good for the intestine? Good for the large intestines. And it cleanses out. It's a good heavy metal detoxifier. Now we're still talking about stuff that's good for the intestines and for the colon. And for those people who know what I'm saying when I say IBS, we're going to be talking a little bit about those things as well. Those things that heal, not only heal, but help the intestines that you already have a nice balance of good bacteria and the good bacteria in there balance off. You know what I'm saying? That balances the bacteria in your body, the good. And remember, we have to have a balance between the good and bad and bacteria in our body. So, did you know that? The lemon water pushes all the toxins out. Parsley, remember we say little bitty things come in big packages. That parsley is dynamo. You all don't say dynamo, you say beast. It's a beast. So, did you know cabbage? People say, oh, I lose weight when I eat cabbage. You know why? Because it's a good prebiotic, not probiotic, prebiotics. This is something that's really fantabulous for the body. Cabbage, when you shred it up, you can eat it raw or you can eat it cooked. A lot of people use their cabbage soup or stuffed cabbage. Oh, tell me you love it too. And you add a little cilantro to it. Awesome. We love these things. And then, you know what? There's something called spinach and kale. Those are good for the intestines. So when you eat, your leafy vegetables are good for your intestines, and it keeps everything flowing. So for those that have problems with IBS and situations with their tummy or their gut, as some call it, you can eat these leafy vegetables and it helps with the body. Oh, the chickpeas are wonderful, or hummus is good for it, and celery. I forgot to tell you, I had celery this afternoon around 11 o'clock on my way, after my 11 o'clock meal. You know, I have my 11 o'clock meal. And I had celery and hummus. Oh, that was good. I'm trying to tell you how good your hummus and your celery in the morning, and put a little spirulina. Now, here's the debate. When you say spirulina, chlorella, those are really good things for the intestines. Did you know that? Chlorella. And you know what? For a while, I went on something, on a binge at one time, and it was watercress. Watercress is so good to me. It's a bitter herb. Can you hear it? Is it on? It's a bitter herb. Watercress is really good for your intestines, family. Watercress. And at one time, I was having to have watercress like every day. I would have it raw, chopped up in my salad. I would cook it, saute it a little bit with little onions, and also onions. Shallots are good for the intestines. Do you remember in the scripture where it talks about, they said, oh, you brought us out here. We remember the leeks, and we remember the onions, and how we used to have onions and leeks, and we forget all that. Guess what? That was good for the bacteria, for the body. It helped the stomach stay in line. Hallelujah. Don't we love sauteed onions? And family, you know what? When you're having some issues in the question, tell me your question. Hi, John.
Chlorophyll. I think that's what that word is. CHLOROPHY.
Chlorophyll. Well, you want it's like an chlorella.
What about chlorophyll? Is that good to use?
Chlorophyll is like chlorella, and chlorella is wonderful for the body. So you want the chlorella, and that which is awesome for the body, and we love chlorella. Chlorella is good for the stomach as well, and it's a balance, and it's also an alkaline. The chlorella is an alkaline, and also a spirulina is an alkaline. So you can use those things. So you want to do that. And your next, was there another question? And don't forget, family, don't be bashful when it comes to asking questions. Don't be bashful when asking questions. Just come on in, family, come on in and sit down and let's have a grandma talk about what we're gonna do. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Is it my unidentified Sheila? Is she in there yet?
I don't see it yet.
My girl, be in there with me. Family.
She also goes by Hebrew Israelite too, because somebody like that name, unidentified Hebrew, was trying to pose as her in Jacob's life chat and was doing a little venom.
No.
Yes, ma'am.
No. Okay. We're gonna
tell you attacks and priests is that time.
We don't do that. Family, remember we talked about broccoli. Oh, broccoli's so good. Steamed broccoli, raw broccoli, that's good for the body. You know what we did the other day? We had, now you know what, let me say, someone in my house didn't eat it, but I loved broccoli soup. I love my broccoli soup. A little bit of onions and all of that good stuff in it. And you know what I'm gonna try I will try, endeavor to put some of these recipes out there for you. I'm gonna endeavor. But do you know you can use that, and that's good for the body as well, the intestine, the colon. We're talking about some things that help continue the health of your colon. You know, we also already talked about burdock, which is good for the colon. And you know, I love you guys. That's good to keep the colon healthy and the colon intestine clean. Chlorella is one thing, and you make me proud. Good looking out for your other family. I like that. You know what? When it talks about hyssop, oh my King and Creator, when the Father, you know, hyssop is in the Bible. And it talked about how it cleanses. It's a good cleanser for the body, but you have to be very, 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 very careful with your hyssop. If you're gonna do hyssop, do it a little bit with other teas like hibiscus, and you put just a drop of hyssop in there. But anyway, for another time. Now, tune in next time, and as we go in for the year, and we'll talk about more about how to use hyssop. What? You're right. And then we talk about, we drink often here thyme tea. We drink also hibiscus tea. Those things are good for the colon, and it keeps the intestines clean and probiotic feel. We love that. So the children that are having issues, let me say this to you, mommies that you're having issues with your sons, and I heard this across the post or whatever a while back, and you say, EMA, our son has issues pottying. What can we do that? And what can we do about that? His stool. And when they extricate, the fragrance is not very pleasant when they sit in without, So I said, well, this is what we do. We can do ginger, which is, when the stomach has issues, what do? We do ginger tea. Ginger tea is wonderful. That kills bacteria in the body, and it puts everything back in line. Ginger tea, you can give them thyme tea, which is another wonderful tea that you can give your babies, your young people, to drink as a tea. Make it very light. Or chamomile. Did you know chamomile is a bomb when your stomachs are going through? It'll stop. I was telling Brother Tobias that the chamomile will stop the spasms in your stomach. Did you know that? If they're having issues with their stomach, chamomile will stop the spasms. And it's just that good. But for your young people, just do it very lightly. Don't do it really strong. And if you're going to, now there's a difference between you use ginger and chamomile for the stomach, and when you use just chamomile just for, just to allow the body to rest. Now you can do the ginger and chamomile, I would do that. If they're having issues with their intestines and right on down the line. And then the chamomile by itself just at night to relax the body and allow it to rest and gets inflammation out of the body. Yes, love?
Amen. Says, what's good with wormwood tea?
Wormwood tea?
That's what it says. What's good with wormwood tea?
Wormwood tea, you know what you could do? You could take a little bit of rose hip, so you can mask the tea, because I know wormwood is kind of bitter. And you can make that, take a little bit of wormwood. Don't make it strong. A lot of people make the mistake of making it really, really strong. Don't use wormwood strong, because it at a strong point. You only want, remember we said less is best? Remember we said that, less is best? So you could use a little bit of you can do, and sometimes just do the tea itself is better, because it's so powerful, and it does really, it's powerful, leave it like that. You can put a little lemon in it, a little bit of agave, or you can put monk fruit to sweeten it. For those that need, or stevia, some people use stevia to sweeten it a little bit, or coconut nectar, you can use that. I like that flavor with the coconut nectar, with wormwood. But you can do it that way, and you can drink it in that way. But like I said, less is best, and you don't want to do it all of a sudden, because you don't want to shock your body, nor your intestine, nor your colon. So you just do it a little bit at a time, small increments at a time, and then let the body acclimate to it and push all the toxins that it need out. But you want to please be very, very careful with wormwood, because it's so potent, it's so strong for the body. So please, 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 look at your EMA. Please be careful. Half a drop at a time in water, and you can drink, because it's powerful, it's strong. Or if you're gonna do the tea, do 4 ounces or 8 ounces of water to 1 drop. It's if you use the extract. So please, 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 because, and I know what you're trying to do, you're trying to get rid of the parasites. So You want to do that a little bit at a time, okay? Because sometimes when a lot of people think it's they have worms, or they want to get rid of the worms, or let me change that word, parasites, different parasites, because it's not just one different types. You have different types of and different shapes of parasites in the body, in the intestines, in the colon. And different ones are different shapes, different forms. Some come out with mucus. So please be very careful with wormwood. And when you drink it warm, or some people drink it, sip it hot, please be careful, because you don't want to take it all at one time. And be ready, because sometimes when you're doing wormwood, it's gonna feel like you're, for a better word, like you're dying. Because those parasites are killing off and they don't know where to go, and they're gonna be screaming for sugar, or they're gonna be screaming for processed foods like breads, the white foods. I call them, they're not white food, they're not food, but they're white products that you put in your body. So when you're doing wormwood, don't do white flour at the time. Do more, if you're gonna do this, do more of your green vegetables. Do more of your, if you're gonna do it, do more like with your cabbage. You're gonna eat that. You're gonna eat your sauteed or blanched Swiss chard, blanched turnips, blanched, your green vegetables. By the way, I had some turnips this past week. We're gonna tell you about, and I'm just a sidetrack. You know what? Let me tell you, the other day we put butternut squash and cut up some beets and put it in the oven and browned it a little bit. Put a little bit, I'm telling you, it was wonderful. Just a touch of maple, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and it browned a little bit with a little and you put, if you gotta put oil in it, put avocado oil in it, and we just browned it and kept it in there until it's soft and everything. Don't cut it up in small pieces. That was so fantabulous. I said, I'm gonna bring that to the class one day and let them taste it. I had forgotten what it was like to eat the beets like that, because you know me, I like beets raw. Oh, by the way, beets are good for the intestines too. Very good. And it gives you energy. If you're looking for energy, family, that will give you wonderful, wonderful energy. Beets, celery, and an apple, and juice it, will give you some energy. I'm telling you. Take my word for it. Because it bites in, because it's going to clean that colon out. Right. That fiber, it cleanses that colon, and it helps that it builds up the prebiotics already in your body. So you automatically have prebiotics, but the point is how much and what is the balance. So you want to balance that out. And family, when you do that, you go to the bathroom, yes, and you help your colon. And guess what? For those the apple is the sweet, the celery is wonderful, and then the beets are sweet. And if you need a little bit more of a sweet, add a little bit more apple. And it balances out and give you that sweet taste. And children love it. You only give it to them in the morning, because if you give it, then they can go to the potty, get all that taken care of, and it cleanses the colon so you don't have that buildup. Actually, that meat, and you say, Amy, you're always talking about my meat. Leave my meat alone. But I have to tell you this, family. So that meat that's in the intestine, that's what gives you that odor, that fermenting, rotting meat. Did I say that? Meat in the, I'm sorry. Rotting meat in the gut causes that odor. But I'm just saying. I love you guys. I think you're wonderful. Yeah. Don't tune me out. I still got good stuff for you. That parsley, you give your babies some parsley with a little bit of lemon in it, and put a little bit of agave or your monk fruit or whatever you want to sweeten it. No sugar, family. While you're doing the wormwood tea, please remember, no sugar. during this time. No processed foods, and I'm going back on that. No processed food, no white flours, no white processed foods or anything like that, like bread and things like that, while you're doing this, because you'll really feel the pressure. You'll feel really sick. You might feel that in your body because you have a tug of war going on in your system. So you want to come off that, even because you're doing a little bit, just half of a drop in an 8-ounce glass or a 4-ounce glass. You're doing that, but you're also stirring up those parasites and you're pushing them out, and they don't want to go. So you don't want to aid them as they go. So you want to get rid of your processed foods, please, and eat more green vegetables. You can eat you know what? You can eat a pound of, someone gave a question, they said, what is the weight between a pound of greens and a pound of apples? You give me that answer. Can you tell me which weighs more, a pound of apples or a pound of greens? Tell me that, and come back next week and tell me which one weighs the most, the pound of apples or a pound of greens. Okay? That's a trilogy for you. And I'll start giving you trilogy stuff like that. Can you think of it?
I don't want to set myself up, so I'm going to be swift to this and slow to speak.
Okay.
Well, my sisters tell me, I mean, you would think the apple is heavier, but I have a feeling you're going to say the green.
But come back next week. Put it in the post what you think. Put it in the post what you think on the put it in the bottom of the thing. Oh, did you?
I would say around.
You would say that? Okay.
Because I just sell those, and I get boxes of apples and greens.
Okay.
Greens you got some weight on.
Okay. So the pound.
Greens got a lot of water in it too.
Green leafy vegetables are packed with water.
That's weight.
And so I'm not going to tell you the answer until next week. You have to come back next week. So everybody ask her and then tell them to come tune in. Don't forget the thumbs up, family. Don't forget the thumbs up. Okay. Now, remember, next week, come back with that answer. And I want my babies, especially in Ohio, to come back and tell me, what do you think? What do you think your Mima says? Come back next week and tell me. Now, let's get back on this. Family, did you know let me tell you. Lentil, and who loves raspberries? Do a thumbs up if you like raspberries. You like raspberries? Raspberries are wonderful for the intestine and for the colon. Raspberries, can you believe that?
Like strawberries. I don't like blueberries.
You like, not blueberries.
Raspberries, just like strawberries, you gotta get them just right.
Just right.
Just right. Sometimes they can be big.
Guess what? They're cleansers. They're
Well, in
cleansers.
that case, then depending on what you're doing, I don't care how they taste. I take them.
That's it.
Cleans. Yes, ma'am.
They're cleansers. They're cleansers, and I love cleansers. I love those things that are cleansers. And who loves, okay, thumbs up if you like cauliflower. Which one do you like? Cauliflower? Thumbs up if you like cauliflower. Thumbs up if you like broccoli. Which one do you like better, broccoli or cauliflower? Both? You like them both as equal? Okay. For some who love, now I love both as well.
I like oatmeal probably is Brussels sprouts. I might take Brussels sprouts and pork.
See.
I like some Brussels sprouts. I grew up with Brussels sprouts.
See.
And I was just telling somebody in the chat, like when I was younger, beets, yeah. But now,
beets are so fantastic.
I'm going right on my side.
See. I love, and have you ever heard of, and you're going to say, oh, Amy, you really gone to the, I love dill turnips. Have you ever had dill turnips?
What's the difference between dill turnips and a standard turnip?
Dill turnips they're like pickled.
Oh.
Pickled turnips.
Pickled turnip.
Pickled turnips.
Oh,
Oh man, that is good for the body, for the intestines, and for the gut. Yes. And people say, EMA, is the gut and the intestine and the colon all the same? No, they're not the same. They come out the same place, but no, come out at the same place. But no, they're not all the same. And we're going to talk about that too. So stay tuned for next week. We love Brussels sprouts, we love celery. Oh, you know what I really love, family? I love radishes. How about you? Horseradish, can you believe this? Horseradish is one of my favorites. You know why? Because it cleanses the colon, cleanses the intestines, and it just perks the brain up. It does all these wonderful, wonderful things. And you know what? I love it because when I was young, I used to say, oh, it's so hot, it's so hot. It would make my eyes water. And so I told people that when I would eat horseradish, I say, I'm just cleaning my eyes. I'm just cleaning my eyes out because it goes up and it cleanses the eye ducts because it goes all up in here. And it does affect all up in here. So have you ever noticed when you have a cold and you eat horseradish, what it does? It cleanses all of the head area. I mean, eyes, ears, nose, and throat, baby. You got all that. That's horseradish. But guess what? When it goes down the colon, it cleanses the colon, and it's part of that prebiotic. Isn't that wonderful? I love that part too. And then, so family, for the repairing of the gut, I want to say this real quick before we go on. And someone asked me, and the reason why I'm hitting on this because some people were asking me this earlier. They say, they have IBS and I need some gut repair. What can I do for gut repair? And I wrote down a few things that's good for intestinal, and this is gut repair. And some of the things that's good for gut repair, family, you can do B complexes, but you know how many vegetables there are that have B complexes in it? There are a lot, and we're going to talk about those things too. Did you know, gut repair, ginger, you knew I was going to say ginger, didn't you? You said it before I did it. I know you did. You said ginger, and I know another thing you're going to say, burdock. Burdock greens are good. You can put arugula. What? EMA, you make sure arugula is good for the gut. Yes, it does. You know what? Slippery elm, fennel is good for the gut. When women chew fennel during that menses times of the month, you chew that fennel, and it does. Remember, I told you there were about 50. Just a plethora of different things that fennel is good for the female body, but it's also good for the male body. And then when you chew it, not only is it good for the breath, it goes to the intestine and it does all these healing things. It just automatically goes to healing. I can remember when we first started, I was telling you about, it's like one pail, and I told you all how one pail, you have 2 pails and 1 pail, they'll take this pail and knock on the door and say, I got something for you, you ready for it? This is one of those things that fennel does for you. And fennel will cleanse that gut, it cleanses the intestine, it repairs the gut. How about that? What? Yes. And that's why it's so good for females during the time of the menses, month of the menses. How it repairs the gut, because we go through that little issue with our stomach, and some people say, oh, I need the chocolate to help that, but it's certain things, it's the B12 in the chocolate that they're yearning for. It's not so much as, but you don't want the chocolate, you want the cacao, family. And they don't, when women go through the time of the month, they crave chocolate.
Right.
Don't do it. Do the fennel. You say, but EMA, that tastes, do the cacao. Where you know exactly what's in there, not the toxins, because we don't do the chocolate. It's do the cacao, where you have your own portion, put powdered cacao. That's all is in there. And then put
deprogramming takes time.
At deprogramming.
Yes, ma'am.
Take it from your EMA. Listen to me. Listen. What does it say? Home remedies. The Father already made those things. He made all things. He created and made all things perfect for us. And I know you say, well, EMA, all those other stuff that they put in this stuff, and you don't know whether it's pure. No, but what you do when you get when you get it, then go ahead and pray over it like we do. Father, use it for the consumption of our bodies as you purposed and intended it to from the very beginning of time. Let your fruits, your herbs, your spices, your green leaves, let them, Father, be as you initiated it to be from the very beginning of time for our bodies, as it does what you intended it to be. For your name's sake and for your glory. Yes, Divine. Yes.
What would be a good chocolate replacement besides fennel that comes close to the taste of chocolate? Because you're talking about replacing a chocolate taste with a black licorice type taste.
A licorice. Okay, you
What is
know,
that?
yeah, you know,
That's healthy.
that's healthy, like we said, the cacao,
Okay.
pure cacao. You can use that, and that comes closest to it. And then what you do, family, if you have to have that chocolate, do it what we do at home. Mr. calls it chocolate milk. But it's not really what you think it's chocolate milk. You say, Emma, here you go. We don't do chocolate milk. There's a better way. One side is one side, remember the bad, good, and then you got the, well, bad bacteria, and you have one part that's good bacteria. Bad bacteria, good bacteria. This is the good bacteria, cacao. So you're gonna take a little bit and you're gonna put, and especially burdock. Family, get a little bit of burdock, and if you have to, and put a little bit of chicory. I didn't say chicory, but chicory. But remember we talked about, that's one thing that they used to do, make coffee out of chicory.
Yeah.
Remember they said they used to work with chicory and they used to make it out of coffee. Remember one of the other episodes we talked about that? And we say it was chicory and it looks like a little plant and it looks like little seeds, little tiny seeds. They remind you of coffee grounds, but it's the chicory. CHOCKERY. Remember we talked about that a while back? And if you didn't go back in the other episodes and listen to what we talked about for the coffee and replacement, and you can take that and it's like the cacao is a stimulant, which is what you're looking for, ladies and men. You're looking for that stimulant. Now you could take the chicory. When you take the chicory, you're gonna boil it for a while, put it in hot water, and you treat it just like you would if you're gonna brew a cup of coffee. And you do that, and then you put a little burdock in it, like you're gonna brew some coffee. And you brew that, and then when it turns black, just like coffee, it'll turn black just like, it'll look like coffee, and it'll remind you of coffee. But it's not the toxins and all the other stuff. And the chicory is good for the intestines, right? So you put what you're gonna put in it, you're gonna put your little, do not use sugar, you use a sweetener. Agave, what do we say? Agave is a sweetener.
And my
Monk fruit is a good, stevia is a good fruit. Coconut nectar is a good fruit. It's a good sweetener rather. And just these things like that.
what about
Honey, but remember,
that's what you said, but make sure you get the honey out of your area.
your area. And remember and for those who have diabetes or high blood pressure, you want to watch how much honey you put in it. If you have high cholesterol or diabetes, watch how much you're going to put, how much honey you're going to use for your chocolate or your coffee, without using the coffee grinds itself. So you're gonna do that, and then once it's brewed, then you put all your ingredients. You can put a little cinnamon. I'm telling you what I like. I put a little vanilla extract, a little cinnamon in it. I put a little bit of pinch of agave or monk fruit, and then I'll go and as far as using coconut. Remember we said our good coconuts. Milk really is for the body. We said coconut milk is really good for the body, which is really true. And coconut water, remember we said in the summertime, coconut water rehydrates the body. Well, coconut does, coconut oil, all that. Remember we spoke about how coconut, when you have yeast infections or candida. Remember we said how good coconut oil is, and you can cook with it, and you also put a little bit in your bath water, and it helps get rid of that bacteria. And I was going to put that post in there. I've not forgotten. We came across a little few issues, so we're going to still post that about the coconut oil for the you know how to cleanse, for the cleanse. And we talked about that, so we'll put that in here. And then you know what? And then you can do that. Remember, it's about the coconut, and it does so many wonderful things for the body. So you can use the coconut, and don't use cow's milk. I didn't have. And it turns out so good. And during that time of the month, when you're craving for chocolate, there's your chocolate milk. You can drink it, and it is fantabulous. It's cacao. Don't use the chocolate, use the cacao. And then we're gonna put some posts in there about how you can eat your cacao. We're gonna make little bars that you can just drop in. They're called cacao nuggets or niblets. You can get those little niblets that you can purchase that are already, and they're just like little chocolate niblet, but they're not chocolate, it's cacao niblets. And you can do that. And you can only do a little bit at a time, and it satisfies if you have to have chocolate. But the fennel, remember that time of the month? You could do that, ladies, your menses. Marshmallow roots are good, not the marshmallows that you get in the bag.
Said root.
Said root.
That's a key factor right there, root.
That's the key.
A lot of people ain't heard that. Marshmallow root.
Marshmallow root. It's good for the intestines because you can put a little bit in boiling water and you can drink it. And what you can do, family, is put the marshmallow root in water, hot water, and let it simmer until it comes up to a top of a boil, but only use a little bit at a time. And it goes through, and it aids with IBS and it repairs the gut because it's a mucilage and it coats the inside of the gut and it pushes out the bad toxins and pushes out and heals and allows the gut to contract to the way it's supposed to be. That's one of the things you can do. It's almost like when people say, EMA, you tell us to eat okra. It's almost that okra consistence. But you don't have to, but you don't have to have it really slimy. You can put it like, you can dilute it so it's not as slimy as some people would do it. But that's the marshmallow root. And some people pronounce it Asia or Ikea, and it's Asia, and it's good for the intestines. It's good for the gut. Asia. And you can do it as a drink, and that's good for it. Aloe vera juice. Someone brought to my attention, what about noni? Noni juice? Noni juice is also good for the intestines as well, and it also helps a lot. And papaya. Family, you can get dry papaya. We dry our own, but anyway, you can do dry papaya, and that's good for the body as well. Some places you can get papaya seeds, and you can have them crushed, in a capsule. You can get that. That's good for the intestine. And also, remember we said about licorice and ginger. That's one thing good for the repairing. Now, those are only a few things for the repairing of the gut. Isn't the Creator so wonderful, family? The Father is so in His infinite love whereby He loves us. I'm so glad He loves us. Aren't you? I am so thankful that He loves us, that He made a way of escape for every situation and every circumstance. Come on back in, family, and tell me, give me some questions. I need your questions. But anyway, come on back in and have those questions for me. But these are just a few things, and like we said, chlorella is one thing that's good for the repairing of the gut, and good looking out. Family John from the family that had the question about the chlorella, that was good, and that's also good for the gut, for repairing of the gut. So you make me proud. These are just a few things, and make sure you have your B12 on in your body, family. Let me tell you about a few more things, and then we're gonna go in. And how about? I almost forgot. Did you know alfalfa? You said EMA alfalfa was what they gave those cows in the farm. And it was good. Yes, they ate that alfalfa. That's why they were that alfalfa did the job for the intestines for those cows. And if you think, if it's so good for them, and you say, I'm not an animal. No, you're not. But hey, alfalfa is good for the intestine, and it's good for the intestinal tract, which is really good. And then you know what? And then I want to say a few more things that cucumbers, I love cucumbers. Let me tell you this, when they're right, at the right time, we will, between cucumbers and celery, that's what we do in the summer. I love cucumbers and celery. So family, I just want to let you all know that the leaves of the field are good for the healing of all the nations. Yes, ma'am. And I love you. So this evening, I want you to know that these are a few things that are good for the intestines, for the colons, but this is to repair the IBS that helps repair the gut. And And there are some other things that you can do to repair the guts, and we'll talk about that next week. How about that? We love you. I thank the Creator for you. Thank you for your questions, and have some more answers. And don't forget that trivia. Next week, we got that trivia, and I want you all to post that. Which one do you think that is heavier? The greens? And I know some of you are going to say, what type of greens, Emma? My greens or the apple? What is the heaviest in poundage? Yes.
Our sister Francine.
Hi, Sister Francine.
She's asking, EMA, I heard you say something about juicing. Should all our fruits and vegetables be organic?
Yes. Well, you know what? There's a fight between those that say organic and those are others. The reason why they say organic because no pesticides. And I prefer the no pesticides.
Right.
But in this day and time, they do certain. You really don't know. So I still lean toward the organic, if you will. I do. And when you use apples, I see a lot of wax on it, Franny. I see a lot of wax on the apples. So that's the reason why I peel mine, or I'll clean it off and let it set and try to wipe as much wax off if possible, if my husband wants the peels on them. So I try to get the wax as much off as possible. I'll take an apple peeler and just go over the apple with the apple peeler, and it will take the wax off of the apple as much as possible. And then I'll take hot water and run it over there and run it over the apples for a few minutes and try to get more wax off. But basically and sometimes I don't do that. I just go ahead and just peel it and juice the apples. I'll peel the apple and then I'll juice the celery and I'll peel the beet, and to the point where I put it. And when I want a real kick, I'll add it. Franny, check this out. When I want a kick, I'll do a little ginger, put a little bit of piece of ginger in there, and it gives me that kick. And that's how I do mine sometimes in the morning. So yes, we can juice it. And you can get more when you juice than you do the other way. I just happen to like to juice from time to time. And then if I'm like fast, I do more juicing when I'm fasting, and certain foods that you do when you fast. So that's me. And it seemed to work for my body. And I have this exuberant energy, Franny. So I hope that helps you. And we're going to be talking about some foods that you can fast with in the near future. Some cleansing foods that you start off with fasting, which is awesome. It's just like you can go for weeks and months with just fasting, and you're like, oh, I don't feel like I want to go, because the stomach is resting, and plus you're just doing the juices, and it's just wonderful. Franny, thank you for that question. So family, I love you. This EMA thinks you're wonderful. I agree with the Creator. I believe that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And it's all because of Him. And in Him, we live and move and have our being. It's not about me. It's not about what I do. It's all about what the Father has already prepared and made for us. This body is going to eventually die off. But while we're in these bodies, let's use these spaceship suits. I call them spacesuits from time to time. In order to get into this world, that's the only way you can get in here with a body. Everybody has to have a body. Everybody has to have a body. But when we have these bodies, why not live it in healing, health, wholeness, and soundness? Why not live that way? Hallelujah, as Tobias loses weight. Why don't we live this body with pain-free while we are in these bodies? And that's the point, that's the key. You can live your life in this without pain, without inflammation, without sickness, without disease, without infirmities, because you know how to repair them. The Father made a way of escape. I love you too much. This EMA thinks you're wonderful. I agree with the Creator. And I thank Him for you. Thank you for allowing me to come into your house and be a servant. Blessings. See you next time. Psalms 91 all around about you as about a shield. Blessings. Shalom.